What's your name?
My name Money Mills.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay, hold on. That nigga 29 at spring break. I don't like that.
I said I'm never coming back again. Next, I stepped away from the mirror. I got my mind made up now, cause I can see the future much clearer.
What's happening? You too old for spring break. Now, out here in Houston, spring break and the rodeo are really the same time. Okay. So you got a lot of people traveling here for spring break and the rodeo. And Houston is like, supposed to be like, popping or whatever. You know, so people like coming, when they have big events. Thus the issue at the rodeo with people dressed a little too provocative and they're putting a dress code on it. But I'm gonna put a couple of things together with this. Some of y'all saying y'all out for spring break, and like this cat, y'all, you're basically 30. You're not on spring break. All right, like let's cut this out. Like this concept of I'm on spring break, so the college girls are on spring break, and this goes for men and women, because I remember when I was actually in college, you know, had a Kappa Beach party, and the Kappa Beach party had some people there that were older than our professors. Yeah, you can't, like, stop it. So this isn't anything new, but the type of person you got to be an adult, a grown, supposedly grown, and go hang with the college spring break crowd, which is sometimes really college and high school, because nobody really checking for ID like that. On some of these spring break parties, if you look, you look grown enough, basically. So, um, so people want to, come up on a young thing, basically. Same thing. Some people are parents, and your kids are old, or your kids are gone sometimes, and people use spring break as their kick it time, right? So those would be people who went to the rodeo, and they flew into the rodeo from another state, and now they're really trying to, how can I get some get some rodeo sex, you know, at, for their quote unquote spring break trip, but it ain't your damn spring break. Now, another part of this is where the tricks and fake sugar daddies come out. I'm gonna get these young, they fine, throw a little money on them, act like I got a little money. Oh, I'm gonna come up on 1 or 2 or 3 a year, that type of stuff. And since you have a lot of young women, grown women, older women prostituting themselves, eh, these things go hand in hand. And then you have people who basically out um, over sexualizing themselves. So it looks like, hey man, you do something strange for a piece of change. That's how it looks. And people gotta, people make sure, like, let's see if I can take advantage of that. Now I gotta go somewhere further with this. Sometimes older people have more access to alcohol and drugs. So you can get taken advantage of, or that's what you was down for anyway. So you just needed somebody to provide it for you, right? So that's a thing. But as I say, you too old for spring break, you know, and since I'm gonna go there, you know, you have people in relationships and people that's married. It's basically a cheating trip, right? let me go to spring break and the rodeo. Yeah, and I'm gonna go have fun. Yeah, I know. Uh-huh. I'm gonna get folded up like a pretzel because you gotta have fun. And let me do this. Let me say this part because spring break happens and stuff happens like Texas, Florida. It used to be Atlanta and whatnot, but it happens different places. Let me go. I shouldn't say let me again, but for all of you people who go, man, this place has an STD problem. A lot of y'all don't want to say part of the STD problem people have is people with STDs flying in from other places to have sex with people. That's part of the STD problem. So, you know, hundreds of thousands of people, maybe a million people, who knows, flew in, and let's just say 10% of them have an STD. Let's just say 10%, 20, you know, and most of these people are horny and they looking to have sex. They gonna probably give it to somebody else. But then they leave. Oh man, Houston I caught that stuff from being in Houston. No, you probably caught that stuff from somebody who's not from Houston, and they was burning in their own city. Not to say people aren't burning in this city, but I'm just saying, that's why what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. People in New Orleans go for Mardi Gras. Excuse me. People go to Miami. Those type of things. When people fly into to cities and events, it's some wild stuff that could go down. You know, that's why, and part of that's why you too old for spring break, because a lot of times, um, people are looking to prey on other people because it's supposed to be a fun time and we could just throw caution to the wind and, well, who needs protection? We've been drinking and partying and we just having fun. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's gonna be on some pills after that. That's part of the whole spring break persona. What's the worst that can happen? You can get an STD or you can get pregnant. That's the worst that can happen. For sure. No, I take that back. You can lose your life, but I know people who got drugged and put on the internet, like they was down for the cause. So that can happen too. Um, but that goes back into you're too old for spring break. You got people who are on that type of time, you know, because I'm old and I'm on spring break. And I gotta go on the opposite side. They got ladies out here who, you know, not necessarily looking for a baller, but looking for somebody to knock them up. They don't see. Some people go on trips and have unprotected sex because they want to have a baby. That's the thing, and you don't have to. You don't have to find the guy per se. You get what I'm saying? If you're one of the people that are that selfish, I'm gonna just do what I want to do, and I wanted a kid, so I went out. I went out here. I went out there. You know, I like it raw. I got pregnant, and I don't know the guy's name. I don't know who's it. I don't know. I don't know. And then some people, the minority of people will say I don't know. The majority of people will say, start the whole, he doesn't want to be around, type thing. That thus the you sleep with somebody in one place, and then you realize you might have got pregnant, so you sleep with another person that you may know to cover it up. That's a thing. So, matter of fact, hold that thought. In a few months, if Essence comes, is rocking in New Orleans, which whatever. But that was an Essence thing, Tom Joyner Cruise type thing, hedonism. type thing. But this is the whole concept of um, spring break and spring break events and things like the rodeo are kind of an attraction to be a sexual deviant. That's why we getting lit. We're going out. We partying. Yeah. I'm not going out for sex. You a damn lie. You a damn lie. You know. It's gonna be the oops, I ain't know I was doing that type of situation. But you got people who, like I said, they're old and they're doing this. And you gotta ask, what you been doing with your life to think about it. You got people like this guy was 29, but you got people this old like, man, spring break finna happen. So what are you doing in your own city? And it's the lady, like ladies are not as bad at that because they're looking for events with ballers and rich guys. You know what I'm saying? So they would have went to the rodeo looking for a rich guy on quote unquote spring break, because there's a lot of it's a lot of broke chicks who look at these events as a time to come up on a man with money per se. But spring break ain't exactly the thing because spring break is a college thing. But I'm gonna leave it at that. Tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Peace.